Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision further down the road. Today, we'll be talking about an Amazon Associates business for sale, and I have the seller with me today. So welcome to the show, Kevin, and how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Vinny. Happy to be here.
That's fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you on this podcast with us. And just before we talk more about your background and your experience building this business in particular, let me give our listeners a very brief summary. So today's listing is an Amazon Associates and affiliate business created in August 2018 in the survival and security niche. The average monthly revenue for the business is $11,179, and it makes an average of $10,413 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are a domain and all of the site's content and files and social media accounts. You can head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 53072 to learn more about the business. If you want to start your due diligence, you can unlock the listing first if you're interested in purchasing this asset. Kevin, that's a really general overview about the business. Let's find out about yourself. Can you share with me what your background is in building or running online businesses?
Yeah, sure thing. So I started my first website 8 years ago, and it was actually built with Drupal, not WordPress. And it was an online supplement company, and I was shipping and receiving supplements, obviously. And eventually, through search engine optimization, I really fell in love with that because obviously I wanted to spend money on ads. But ultimately, that business failed, and I ended up going in the military. And then when I got out of the military, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start another website. I'm going to utilize these SEO skills that I learned before on a new website. And essentially, I made some mistakes on that website, but I learned a lot of lessons. And then I started a few more. And the technique that I was using was basically just writing really long, in-depth, useful content and not really working on backlinks or anything manipulative that people do. That was a mistake I did with my first website. I tried to go out and get a bunch of backlinks. And I found, if I just build great content that people like, that was working incredibly well. So I was just trying to build the most useful page, the most in-depth page. And it's been surprising. Pretty much everything is ranked. I have multiple websites now, and they all do really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really glad to hear that you continued building those SEO skills after you joined and left the military. And yeah, it sounds like you found almost like a winning formula. Definitely think value is the name of the game, and especially when it comes to content, because there's just so much out there that, you've got to give people a reason to stick with your content. And I think long form does seem to be the way to go in this day and age. Can you share with me then, how did you come up with the idea to start this business in particular? Like, why in these niches?
Well, I kind of figured, what am I into, my hobbies, what do I know about? And when you're writing about stuff, if you actually know about it, a lot easier. And so with this niche, it's generally pretty competitive. So I wanted to use my military background as kind of like an edge. And I found that a lot of my readers and stuff are a lot more supportive because it's a military-based website and people want to see what we have to say. It kind of stands out, and a whole bunch of all the other sites are all very, very similar. And with this site, I put so much love into it because I didn't want to make, the people I was representing look bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds like there's some vested interest in there as well. You probably have a hobby in there, which makes it probably easier for you to write about as well. Can you share with me, how does business make money?
So right now, I just put in Amazon affiliate links just out of simplicity. And then there was a couple pages where the products weren't on Amazon, so I just opened up an account with VigLink and a couple other places just for a few links. But there's only maybe 5 or 6 links on the whole website that aren't Amazon. That might be a mistake on my part because the other places do pay higher commission, but I just have everything going to my Amazon account. It's just really simple. And I like Amazon. It's kind of nice because a lot of times you get bonus sales. So I probably could put other links, but out of simplicity, I've just left it as Amazon. And there's a lot of pages where I could put ads.
Sense. So it sounds like Amazon Associates makes up the bulk of the revenue for the time being.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's some pages where I could put ads, but I just decided not to put ads on the site. If there was a buyer that wanted to, they could go for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you were sharing just before that you've been in the SEO game for many years. Could you share with some of our listeners who might be new to online businesses for the first time, why is Amazon Associates or just, affiliate marketing such a great business model to begin with?
Oh, yeah. So whenever I was shipping and receiving products, I mean, that's a nightmare. I mean, I just graduated college. I was living at home and my parents' house was full of supplements. And then I was looking at some of my competitors' websites. I'm like, why is this guy linking to Amazon? Why isn't he just selling this? And then I'm like, oh my gosh. I went to Amazon's website and I found out about the associates program. I was like, I'm switching everything. I'm done shipping and receiving. That's a nightmare. So this is totally passive. I've been making, over $10,000 a month just letting the site sit. And it's, pretty incredible. And I've duplicated that across multiple websites and, I'll fall in love with just affiliate marketing because, especially with Google traffic. I mean, whenever I was buying ads, those things are expensive. And now that I'm getting, free traffic and reaching out to people who are exactly looking for this content, I mean, it's really incredible that it's even possible.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think when you compare it to e-commerce, there's definitely a lot less work involved for like the sort of even day-to-day maintenance, because obviously with e-commerce, even with drop shipping and stuff, figure out the logistics and where your storage is and all that jazz. Whereas with content, once you've shipped it, as long as you've optimized the page and everything, it's pretty hands-off. So definitely makes sense. So Kevin, that absolutely makes sense. Your site's doing really well right now. So our listeners will be wondering why you're selling the site instead of staying with it and growing it.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've been all in on affiliate content websites for years now. Essentially every dollar I've made, I've reinvested. And I do have multiple large websites now. Some are 3 or 4 times larger than this one. And all in for so long. And it's funny, if you look at my bank account, like my earnings, I have like no money in my bank account because I've been all in for so long. So I figure, I have a lot of websites where I own, 50% equity, and I have a couple where I own 100%. But I figured I'd just sell one and just to get some cushion in my bank account, maybe buy a house right now or, something where I'm not all in so much. I mean, I've been grinding for years, so that's the honest answer. But it is a good website, and there's actually a Google update coming called the Page Experience Update. And basically, they're looking for websites that are fast. And this website is, if you run it on a page speed test, I mean, if you find a faster website, I'll give you this one for free. I do expect it within the next month, probably get between a 10 and 30% boost in traffic. I mean, that's obviously not guaranteed, but the site's great. It's laser fast, good experience signals. So that upcoming update, I expect it to be a pretty nice boost.
Yeah, no, for sure. That sounds great. Like, obviously, page speed is a massive factor when it comes to content sites. But I appreciate what you're saying as well about the reason why you're selling. It sounds like a lot of liquidity is sort of like tied into this asset and kind of helpful for you to sell so that you can loosen some of that up. So you've got some of it to do whatever you want to do. So definitely makes sense. Let me ask you, Kevin, I just want to dig into a bit about your experience. As you were building this site in particular, was there anything that you learned that you would apply to future sites or businesses if you did try to grow another one?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Basically, started with the content management system. WordPress is by far the best as far as pretty much in every avenue. I started with Drupal. And then once you're on WordPress, finding a good theme. I've switched the theme on this thing 3 times just because I wanted a site that was checking all the boxes for all the optimization as far as speed and everything loading properly. People don't realize a lot of websites, they have loading errors because the themes are garbage. But I have like OCD, so pretty much just once you have get in a good theme and once you have a good system going, just replicating it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense for sure. You mentioned about, WordPress being a great, probably one of the best content management systems out there. Were there any other tools or software that really helped you as you were growing and scaling the business?
As far as keyword analysis, I like Ahrefs a lot. I use that a lot to find the keywords. As far as like plugins and stuff on the website, I kind of kept the website minimalistic just because anytime you start going with plugins, it bogs down the site. Yeah, I'm like OCD about speed and stuff like that. So as far as other tools, I've spent countless hours just writing content and researching. I actually wrote probably 80% of the content on the website, probably more actually. And I was writing content for like 10 to 12 hours a day for almost a full year. It was insane. And it's been a heck of a journey.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. On the other side of the coin then, because you've talked about what works for you, were there any sort of strategies or tactics that you tried that didn't really give you the ROI that you were hoping for?
There's a couple pages that I'm surprised didn't rank better than they are ranking. I think the one thing that the website really could improve on, and I spent almost no time on it, was building relationships or backlinks. I've just stayed away from it because things have went so well without it. But it's crazy. I outrank sites that are like 5 times more my authority. But I do think if someone did build even like 5 to 10 good links, I mean, it could boost the whole site. That's one area where I have been slacking, admittedly.
Okay, that's fair enough. Another question as well, just to do with your experience. As you were learning about SEO and just trying to skill yourself up, were there any resources or communities that you just found really valuable?
Yeah, so the big YouTube aha moment was there's a channel called Income School, and they were just talking about how you could rank websites with just great content and no backlinks. And kind of the thing that turned me off before was just the level of manipulation and how people could manipulate the search engine rankings. But nowadays, as Google's matured, it really is usually the most useful page. I mean, unless you're a brand new site. But yeah, it's crazy. Nowadays, Google's pretty smart. I mean, they see how people interact with your website, and they can tell if the content's good just by how users behave with it. So the days of just throwing up crap and building backlinks to rank, you really have a good core foundation of content. And I started with, I wanted to build the core good and worry about the rest later.
Yeah, Income School, we're very familiar with those guys. Yeah, they're definitely a great resource for a lot of people who've used our marketplace before, for sure. So you've mentioned, a couple of the lessons that you learned in the past. If you could sort of speak to yourself when you first started on this journey, what advice would you give yourself?
Just double down. It's not about quantity. There's a lot of like thin content out there, just short pages. Nowadays, to rank, you really have to have like a massive resource that answers all the questions. When you publish a page, you have to say, is this the best page, like, objectively on this topic? And if the answer is no, then I would always tell myself to go back and spend time until it is. And if you don't think you can build it based on your experience, then don't write it because it's just a waste of time. I mean, as far as like using your time wisely, just only write the pages you know where you can rank one for. This is one of the first pages I wrote on the website. I shouldn't have started with a topic that competitive. I mean, in hindsight, there's already so many good pages, but there are tons of pages where there's just not good information,
For sure. Yeah, it takes, like you say, experience and trial and error to figure out what is valuable and what's not. Especially guilty of it as well. Just maybe adding a bit too much fluff sometimes when you can cut a lot of stuff out and it will become a better article, for sure. Let me just switch over then to the marketing side of things. I'm assuming that the majority of the traffic is coming from organic search. Is there any paid advertising aspect to the business?
No, I haven't done any paid advertising at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all just been search engines.
Gotcha. What do you currently do in terms of marketing right now then?
Basically, the whole strategy for this site has just been write pages that will rank well in search engines. And, it's been working well for years, continues to work. So it's been sticking with that. Double down on what's working.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. And don't fix what isn't broken, right?
Yeah, and from free traffic that's consistent. I mean, some sites should be worried. Like if your site's propped up by manipulative backlinks, I think you should be worried. But if you generally have good content, I sleep just fine at night. I'm like, Google takes this page down. It's actually like a mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I suppose the marketing side sounds pretty hands-off. Let's talk about your sort of day-to-day task. Can you just sort of describe what you do to maintain the business?
So I actually just started adding pages to this website again. I don't know if it'll sell or not. I think this month I added just a couple pages. And I wrote one of them, and my buddy wrote one. Yes, on this site, I'm not working on it too much at the moment. But yeah, I have a guitar set I've been pumping a ton of time into with my buddy. I promised I'd help him quit his engineering job, so we've been working on that. But yeah, as far as day to day, there's literally you don't have to do anything. The person that buys it can literally just let it sit and it should perform pretty well. As far as updating products and stuff like that, as far as affiliate sites, you really don't have to do it too often. You'd be surprised. Yeah, as far as day to day, there's really not a whole lot of maintenance. If they wanted to scale it, I think their best bet would be, obviously because this site is a little unique as far as who can write for it. But there's definitely a lot of good writers that they could find on platforms like Upwork. I did find one of the writers on there, Travis, really good, and he may still continue to write for the website. Yeah, if they do hire like Marines on Upwork, sometimes they're not like the greatest grammar and stuff like that. But as long as you have an editor, clean up the pages and send it back to them and say, hey, do you approve of us posting this? Probably 100% they'll agree as long as nothing's been changed drastically.
Yeah, gotcha. So at the moment, how often are you posting new content? Is it like monthly or weekly?
So for the first year, I was posting, it took me about like 3 days to write a page maybe. So I was posting like a page every 4 days. But once I started the other site with my buddy, I've kind of haven't done too much with it in the past year. I just started adding pages again in the past month or two.
Right, gotcha. So let's say if there's someone listening who isn't familiar with affiliate marketing or the niche itself, what would you say are some of the skills or requirements they should be aware of if they want to step into the role and hit the ground running?
Yeah, so I imagine the person buying this site won't be the writer. So I would say just giving the writer really good instructions. Biggest time saver for me hiring writers is make it idiot proof. Basically, give them a template, show them example pages, maybe have them write only a quarter of the page and give them feedback. Honestly, the business model itself is very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. You write good content, make a useful guide. And it does take time for stuff to rank in Google. If it's a new business owner, when you post a page, you can't really expect anything out of it for the first 6 months. It takes, 6 to 12 months to really start seeing any results. So if there was a buyer and they expected to increase their revenue super quick, not super realistic. It's going to take just like anything in life, it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure. But let me ask you then about the opportunities for the buyer. If you did stay with the business, what are some of the ways that you try to grow it?
Well, I just added 2 pages. This niche has so much opportunity. A lot of the websites that are in this niche are totally garbage, which is actually kind of surprising. There's a couple good sites that I like. There's only 3 sites that I respect. Yeah, there's a lot of areas that this site hits that are not very competitive and expensive products, especially with affiliate marketing. I like kind of expensive products because the commission rates are generally 3 to 8% if you're using Amazon or Big Link.
No, that's great. I think that's definitely sounds like lots of avenues to explore with the business. As you're aware, all businesses have some risk with them. What would you say is some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
So I think the biggest risk, unless a fundamental change to the way search engines rank, to make the whole first page ads, they've already been sticking a lot of featured snippets. So basically, if you what is this? They can show the answer without actually having to click on the page. But the topics on this site, I've actually avoided those topics where you really can't get the answer just without clicking on the page. Whereas a lot of websites actually got screwed by that. People didn't have to click on the content anymore to see the ads. But this website, a lot of the pages are more product reviews based or in-depth guides on stuff like that. So I really don't see any super risk. I haven't done any manipulative backlink building, so I don't see any risk there. Competitors, but that's life.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that, I'm afraid. Yeah, last 3 questions really from me, Kevin. How much support are you offering buyers?
That's a good question. I'm pretty much the most easygoing guy ever. I'll give them a lot of support until they don't need me anymore. The business model is actually pretty simple, so I can't really imagine they need me much, to be honest. But yeah, as much as they need. I'm literally at my computer all day, every day, so always here.
Oh, that's the issue with working from home, right? We're just always on.
Oh yeah, and I want them to be happy. I'm not trying to screw anyone over, obviously.
Well, that's great to hear. Are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If I was in their shoes, I would want the same thing. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I think everyone would prefer to get a lump sum, but I'm flexible, so I would consider it.
Awesome. Yeah, our buyers appreciate you saying that. So this last question from me, really, Kevin. If you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
It's low maintenance. You can hire writers on Upwork, so the scaling cost is actually pretty low. It's pretty incredible. Upwork is incredible. And we've got an angle on the niche. Anytime you go into any kind of big niche like this, you want to differentiate yourself. And I think we've done that pretty well, being obviously I can't say too much on the interview. Yeah, I think just the business model itself is incredible. I'm still going full force. And if the site doesn't sell, I'm going to keep building it. So I think it's a fun site.
For sure, it makes sense. Is there anything you'd like to share that you think I might have missed?
Obviously, any questions they have, I'm always here to answer. So, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Kevin, it's been a pleasure having you on and really hope that your business gets picked up by the right buyer in the not too distant future.
Hey, thanks, Vinny. This was easy, so thank you.
Great stuff. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 53072. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about the business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.